So if you were wondering why I haven't made a Necros video by now, despite the box being out for over a week, yeah, Konami have done me dirty on that one. Likewise, I also only have one copy of the new Silver and Ultra Rare, so that's pretty fun. So instead, today I'm bringing you another deck. A deck known to be under a constant identity crisis. Is it a normal monster? Is it an effect monster? The deck I'm talking about is of course Gemini. But because I'm like a week late to this party, rather than show you guys a Chemcritter video, which I'm sure there are plenty of videos out already, I thought I'd make something a little different. I decided to rehash an old deck that hasn't seen any meta relevancy since December of 2018, which also happens to be the last time I made an upload on the deck. For the love of God, don't watch that video. Anyway, without further ado, here's the deck list. Now before I get into the deck list, just a reminder that if you are enjoying any of the content you are watching or find any of it useful, to please show your support in the video by dropping a like down below and subscribing to the channel whilst you're down there. I make a ton of content every week covering various different deck lists, all with their own unique meme intro, and occasionally I run live stream tournaments that anyone can join, so if you're interested in any of that stuff, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. Alright. So this deck is basically the simplest control deck ever created, as it basically just relies on a bunch of target 1 remove type effects, and like I mentioned, this deck is old, like really old, with basically the entire core of the list being released before September of 2018, with one exception. Catalyst Field. This card was released in the latest box and is an absolute godsend for any Gemini deck. So for anyone that doesn't know what Gemini Monsters are, they're basically a bunch of effect monsters that need to be normal summoned twice in order to become effect monsters, otherwise they're only treated as normal monsters whilst on the field. It's a pretty silly mechanic, and it's not exactly a shock that they never really see play nowadays. Who would have thought that a bunch of effect monsters that are locked out of using their effects would suck? But the field spell really helps fix their problems, a lot. First of all, this card lets you normal summon an extra Gemini monster every turn. So not only does this make Xyz summoning pretty damn easy, but it also lets you normal summon the same Gemini monster twice, letting you use their effects on the turn you summon them. On top of that, it also lets you destroy one card your opponent controls each turn by banishing one activated Gemini monster until the end phase of your opponent's turn. So this field spell alone grants you access to Xyz plays, fixes your Gemini problems, and gives you another source of removal. It's just a really good field spell. As for the rest of the list, it's pretty old now, so I'll give you guys a brief rundown on what each of the cards do. Valkyria, when active, can once, while face up on the field, place one spell counter on it. With the counter, it gains 300 attack, and you can remove the counter to target one monster on the field and destroy it. Evocator, when active, can send any face-up equipped card you control to the graveyard to target any card your opponent controls and destroy it. This generally combos with Supervise. This card, when equipped to a Gemini monster, will activate it, and if it is ever sent to the graveyard, can resurrect any normal monster from grave, which all Gemini monsters in grave are treated as. Knight, when active, at the start of the damage step, if it attacks a special summon monster, that monster is banished. And the final card you might not have seen is Gemini Spark. Tribute one face-up level 4 Gemini monster, target one card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, draw a card. Alright guys, that'll be it for the decklist part of the video. The rest of the video will be gameplay with commentary showcasing the list in action. Remember, if you are enjoying any of the video at all or find any of the content useful, to please drop a like on the video down below and consider subscribing to the channel whilst you're down there. Enjoy the gameplay. Alright, let's get into it. So I played this decklist on the ladder and in the KC Cup. On the ladder it did okay. I played a few more games I'm showing here, but it's roughly 50-50. I think I went 6 wins and 4 losses in my recent match history, but it's not... The deck isn't supposed to be the best deck around. Obviously I'm using a bunch of cards from like 2018, so it's not going to be absolutely meta-breaking, meta-defining top tier deck or anything like that, but it does keep up with the current standings of the game, which is pretty good. And in the KC Cup, that meta is just... There's a lot more garbage in the KC Cup, so you can win a lot more games in this. So if you wanted to get dual level max with this, you probably could. Wouldn't be too hard. I've been climbing pretty steadily with it, and if I wanted to keep going, probably would. I think my recent match history is 7 wins, 3 losses. Either way, it's just a really, really good deck. Now, as for the replays, when I was playing on ladder, I was using Destiny Draw, which was definitely a worse skill to use, and I don't recommend using it, but you can if you want. In the KC Cup, I was using the Tie That Binds, which is definitely the better of the two skills, because there's plenty of times you'll find where you have 2 monsters left on board, and their attacks add up to 4k if you have Ties That Binds. Without it, you just don't have lethal on board. And you'll notice that a lot, so... Anyway, let's get into the replays. I was actually pretty surprised at how well this deck kind of did. I thought it would do so badly, like just absolutely had no chance at all. But it turns out just simple just target one card remove effects are actually pretty good nowadays. They're not that bad. Especially with the field spell now. Alright, so starting off with summoning a monster, setting our quick play spell to be able to pop it, pop something, and we're good to go. I don't think I had the field spell active, but I didn't normal summon this twice. I probably should have done that, because now I have to use that normal summon later. Anyway, doesn't really matter, we've got Gemini Spark on board, so we can get rid of it anyway. Summons his monster, of course I'm going to pop it, because this monster allows him to summon another one. We don't want him to do that. Gonna send his field spell to grave, searches for his Sphinx. But thankfully he's got no cards on board, so we can try to... Well, would try to lethal him, but didn't draw a second monster, sadly. But we've got a Treach, so... Activating the Treacherous trap, I'll destroy both his monsters. Unfortunately, this summons his boss monster, which is very scary. King Golem can be pretty nasty. Easiest top deck of my life. Hit a Valkyria, because we have the field spell, we can double summon it a second time, use this effect to pop a monster on board, popping his monster, and passing the turn. He sets a card, we activate Supervise. Very good top deck actually, because he had Trimid Pulse. Trimid Pulse activated to destroy my monster, destroys Valkyria, but because Supervise gets sent to the graveyard, he can come back again, resurrecting the monster, and he's dead on board. Alright, game 2. I'm pretty sure that I actually had a better run with this deck now than I did when I tried to play it in 2018. That's got to say something, right, about how good the field spell is. Alright, so obviously playing a Blue Eyes player here. One lot of back row, one monster. So we summon our Valkyria, equip it with Supervise. He activates Karma Cut. Now because we don't want our monster to be banished, we want it to go to the graveyard, that way Supervise can revive it. We instantly activate the Spark in response, popping the monster to pop his Blue Eyes, and resurrecting the Valk. And now he's lost all resources. He's discarded cards from his hand, thankfully didn't discard any stones. 3 cards down, Karma Cut down, and yeah. From here it was pretty easy. Nothing too fancy, very standard. And that's basically like the definition of what this deck is. The entire premise of the deck, like I said, is just target one card, remove it. So it just means that's just mostly how your duels go, and you just try to outvalue your opponent with card draw, using whatever, and using the Supervise to revive your cards after using them. It's generally just outvaluing your opponent. Alright, so normal summon our monster, activate Valkyria, normal summon it again, then we can use Callous Field to pop on the back row. If he activated anything in response, it would give me a choice to use Gemini Spark first, and I can pop the other one too. But he didn't, so it just kind of popped and nothing happened. Gemini Spark, I'm going to be popping the back row, because I'm kind of scared he might have something sus in that back row, so we're just going to get rid of it and draw a card. And if we happen to top deck into a monster, which is why I used Gemini Spark and not the field spell, we then would have had lethal on board, because we could have Ties That Binds lethaled him. Especially with our double summon as well. But unlucky, didn't get it, so had to deal with chip damage. Summons Nebradis, searching for Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull, adding another card to hand. Now I'm pretty sure I know what this card does, I kind of forget, but I'm pretty sure it's a special summon card that brings something back, so I kind of didn't want to leave his board empty, because I'm pretty sure he has to have no monsters to use it. Yeah. So although I think I have a Treacherous set, I don't want to Treacherous these two monsters, because he just special summoned that other one, I would have wasted my time. So instead, I Book of Moon one of them. But then he activates his thing to buff his monster, and I can Treacherous him then. He's already in the battle phase at that point. I activate my field spell to try to pop his card, before I can summon my other monster, and have lethal on board. Alright, what am I up to? Oh, this is a good one. So this showcases how good one of the Gemini monsters is specifically, and why, back in the day, people would actually use this card outside of Gemini, just because it was a useful monster. And that is Knight, but we'll see when he comes up. So Sumptuous and Maestra summons the annoying one, adds a card back to hand, and then he has the materials on board to be able to fusion summon into the Indestructible Choir. Which we have a few ways to get rid of in this deck. We don't just have to use the Gemini monster. For example, as you're about to see, you can just Book of Moon it and then destroy it that way. So summon Evocator, flip face down with Book of Moon, making sure we equipped the equip spell to it first in case he activated some monster to destroy ours, we at least get it back again. Supervise on it again, pop his monster, and pass the turn. Unfortunately, he had a way to bring back his Melodious Choir. Our monsters are normal summoned, so we don't have to care about the this thing swinging into them. Set the Spark. Thankfully, I don't think he just drew absolutely nothing, and we're just sitting here waiting for our monster to be drawn. Mystical Space Typhoon, popping our Treacherous. We're still pretty safe, by the way. If we summoned anything else, we still have a Gemini Spark. It's not like we weren't safe during this period of time, but he just wasn't doing anything, so whatever. And there it is, we draw a monster. Equip it with another Supervise, this way it can swing in with its effect. When it swings in, whenever it attacks, it can banish the monster it swings into before the damage step. So banish his stuff and pass the turn. And here's an example of why we should use Ties That Binds, by the way. 100 life points, if he had Ties, he was just dead. Ostinado, summoning Maestra. But we've got Spark on board, so no matter what he does, we can Spark it. Using one of the monsters with Supervise means we bring back the monster we used. And he's very, 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 very dead. Uses Treacherous, we then use our card in response to pop his other card, and we even have Valkyria in hand, even if he removed our other monster as well. Plus, Supervise can bring back another monster when it was destroyed by the Tretch, so like I said earlier, just a shit ton of outvaluing is how this deck wins. Basic, level 4 monsters with target 1 pop effects, just massively outvaluing their opponent by being able to chain things like Spark, drawing cards, using the field spell to remove things by banishing monsters that are returned, and Supervise continuously resurrecting them. It just leads to a lot of outvaluing. Alright, final replay. Alright, so our opponent did absolutely nothing here, so we're pretty sure this is just a Lunar Light player. Whenever you see your opponent doing nothing nowadays, it's a billion hand trap and it's a Lunar Light player. Again, passing the turn, he's hoping we pop Destiny Draw, we're not going to pop it for him. Although this was another example of a duel where, hey, if I had used Ties That Binds, we wouldn't have had to pop his Destiny Draw here, because we could have had enough attack to beat over it. We had just enough attack to get exactly, so he'd have to use his hand trap without getting Destiny Draw. We could have Exceed summoned here into one of our boys that has over 2200, but then we give our opponent the Lunar Light spell card effect where he can use cards in deck, so I don't want to Exceed summon or anything here. Plus we're pretty sure he has hand traps, so it's whatever. Another example where Ties just would have been strictly better. For some reason he's running an actual copy of Polymerization. But anyway, summon Saber Dancer. Crimson Fox reduces our monster's attack to 0. Thankfully, I don't think he read this card, so he decided not to remove this one, which is the actual problematic card for him. Instead, tries to get rid of the Valkyria. Swings in with Book of Moon it so he can't die. Still swings into it. Really nice guy. So we can normal summon this card again, give it its effect, which banishes the start of the damage step, and he's lost his boss monster. Moonlight Fusion, using the 2 cards to summon out Saber Dancer. Thankfully not another one of his boss monsters, that would have been really annoying. Supervise, which then we can use the effect Send Destroy. He negates it. We don't care, I Supervise and then bring back the other monster we just used. Or Valkyria. Normal summon it again, use its effect, pop his thing. And we have 2 chances of lethal, and he's gone. But yeah, that's it, that's the gameplays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And I hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.